Have you ever stopped to think about the forgotten descendants of Adam and Eve? While names like Cain, Abel, and Seth are well known, there are mysterious gaps that have puzzled Bible scholars and curious minds for centuries. Who were the other children mentioned in the scriptures? Why do their traces seem lost to history? And what hidden truths might these stories reveal about the origins of humanity? To understand the mystery of Adam and Eve's forgotten descendants, we must first revisit their story as recorded in the Bible. In Genesis, Adam and Eve are introduced as the first humans, placed in the Garden of Eden to live in harmony with God and creation. However, their disobedience led to the fall, a pivotal moment that forever altered the course of human history. This event sets the stage for their family's story, one marked by both Tr. Most readers are familiar with Cain and Abel, their first two sons. Cain, the farmer, and Abel, the shepherd, represent the first recorded sibling rivalry, culminating in Cain murdering Abel out of jealousy. The account in Genesis 4 is detailed, emphasizing the devastating impact of sin within the first human family. But here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. After Cain is exiled for his crime, Genesis 4 verse 17 notes that he built a city and had descendants of his own. Yet, how is this possible if Adam and Eve had no offspring? This is where the Bible provides an intriguing clue. In Genesis 5 verse 4, a brief but significant statement is made: after Seth was born, Adam lived 800 years and had other sons and daughters. Seth, born after Abel's death, is often highlighted as the righteous lineage through which humanity's relationship with God was preserved. But what about these other sons and daughters? The verse mentions them in passing, almost as an afterthought. Who were they? Were they older or younger than Seth? And why do they seem to vanish from the biblical narrative? The focus on Seth makes sense from a theological perspective. As the ancestor of Noah and, eventually, Jesus, Seth's lineage represents the continuation of God's covenant with humanity. However, the vague reference to additional children raises significant questions. Did they have families? Did they interact with Cain's descendants? And why is so little said about them? Some scholars suggest that these other children were omitted because they didn't play a direct role in the biblical narrative of redemption. Others argue that the brevity of early Genesis reflects the storytelling style of ancient cultures, where genealogies often emphasized key figures rather than exhaustive family details. Still, the absence of information fuels speculation and invites deeper exploration into their potential impact on early human society. As we continue this investigation, it's essential to remember the vast lifespans of the first humans. Adam lived 930 years, and Eve likely had a similarly extended life. Over such a long period, it's entirely plausible that they had many children, forming a large, interconnected family network. Could these unnamed descendants have founded early communities or contributed to the cultural development of humanity? Through this lens, the story of Adam and Eve's forgotten descendants becomes more than a historical footnote, it's an invitation to consider the untold stories of humanity's beginnings. The Bible provides only a framework, leaving us to wonder about the lives, struggles, and legacies of these early figures. Their omission doesn't diminish their significance, rather, it challenges us to seek understanding through study, reflection, and imagination. This is just the beginning of our exploration. In the next chapter, we'll delve into historical and textual investigations, uncovering insights from apocryphal writings and ancient traditions that may shed light on these enigmatic descendants. Could these sources fill the gaps left by Scripture? Stay with us as we piece together this fascinating puzzle. The gaps in the biblical narrative about Adam and Eve's forgotten descendants have intrigued scholars and theologians for centuries. While Genesis provides only a skeleton outline, other historical and textual sources offer additional perspectives that may help fill in the blanks. To deepen our understanding, we must turn to apocryphal texts, ancient traditions, and comparative studies of other cultural narratives. One of the most fascinating sources outside the canonical Bible is the Book of Adam and Eve, also known as the conflict of Adam and Eve with Satan. This apocryphal work, though not considered scripture, provides a detailed account of Adam and Eve's life after their expulsion from Eden. It describes their struggles to survive, their deep sense of loss, and their efforts to raise their children in a fallen world. Some versions even reference other sons and daughters, though their names and roles remain ambiguous. Could these accounts reflect oral traditions preserved alongside the biblical text? Another important document is the Jubilees, often referred to as the Little Genesis. This ancient Jewish work expands on the genealogies of Genesis and provides additional context for the early descendants of Adam. In Jubilees, the focus remains on the righteous lineage, but it also hints at the existence of larger family networks. These writings help us imagine the broader societal dynamics that might have existed among Adam and Eve's descendants. Were they united as one family, or did rivalries like that of Cain and Abel lead to division and dispersion? Scholars have also pointed to similarities between the Genesis account and other ancient Near Eastern creation stories. For example, the Sumerian king list and the Epic of Atrahasis both reference early human figures who lived extraordinarily long lives and fathered numerous descendants. These parallels suggest that the concept of large, interconnected families was a common theme in the ancient world. Could the forgotten children of Adam and Eve have been part of a shared cultural memory that informed these texts? Furthermore, archaeological evidence provides clues about early human settlements that might align with the time frame of these narratives. Sites like Göbekli Tepe and Çatalhöyük reveal sophisticated societies emerging thousands of years ago, raising the question, could these communities have been founded by the descendants of Adam and Eve? While speculative, this line of inquiry underscores the interplay between biblical accounts and human history. From a textual perspective, the brevity of Genesis regarding Adam and Eve's other children may reflect ancient storytelling priorities. In the ancient world, genealogies often highlighted key figures while omitting others deemed less central to the narrative. This selective focus doesn't necessarily imply insignificance but rather a deliberate choice to emphasize theological themes over exhaustive family records. However, this lack of detail has given rise to various theories among modern scholars. Some propose that these unnamed children were integral to the spread of humanity, forming early tribes and clans. Others suggest they were symbolic, representing the broader human population rather than specific individuals. Still, others posit that these omissions point to gaps in the transmission of oral traditions before they were written down. The intrigue deepens when we consider the role of Cain's descendants. Genesis 4 describes Cain building a city and fathering a lineage known for cultural advancements like music and metalworking. If Cain had descendants, it's logical to assume that Adam and Eve's other children did too. Were these forgotten descendants part of Cain's city? Did they form their own communities elsewhere? The answers remain elusive, but the possibilities are tantalizing. Interestingly, some Christian traditions speculate that these other descendants could explain certain mysteries in the Bible, such as the identity of the sons of God mentioned in Genesis 6. These enigmatic beings, who married the daughters of men, have puzzled theologians for centuries. Could they have been part of Adam and Eve's extended family, their stories lost to time? In modern times, the study of genetics and human migration patterns has provided new ways to think about these early generations. The idea of a mitochondrial Eve, the theoretical common ancestor of all humans, resonates with the biblical account of humanity's shared origins. Could the forgotten descendants of Adam and Eve represent branches of the human family tree that science has yet to fully understand? While definitive answers remain out of reach, one thing is clear: the story of Adam and Eve's forgotten descendants challenges us to think beyond the text. It invites us to explore the intersection of faith, history, and human curiosity. By piecing together clues from scripture, apocryphal writings, and ancient traditions, we gain a richer understanding of our shared origins and the divine narrative that shapes our existence. In the next chapter, we'll shift our focus to modern interpretations and theories. How do theologians and scientists view the forgotten descendants today? Could they be metaphorical, historical, or a blend of both? Join us as we continue this journey of discovery. Modern theories and interpretations. The narrative of Adam and Eve's forgotten descendants doesn't just rest within ancient texts and traditions, it extends into modern theological and scientific discourse. Today, scholars, theologians, and scientists explore these stories through the lenses of metaphor, symbolism, and historical plausibility, offering interpretations that resonate with contemporary audiences while raising profound questions about humanity's origins. Theological perspectives on the forgotten descendants. Modern theologians often examine the forgotten descendants as more than historical figures, they view them as symbols of humanity's spiritual journey. Some propose that these unnamed children represent the unrecorded multitude of human stories. Just as Scripture highlights key figures like Seth, Cain, and Abel, it leaves space for the countless lives that shaped early humanity, symbolizing how every person contributes to God's unfolding plan. Others suggest that the ambiguity surrounding Adam and Eve's other descendants may reflect divine intentionality. By omitting specific details, the narrative encourages readers to focus on the broader themes of sin, redemption, and grace rather than becoming lost in genealogical minutiae. This perspective aligns with the belief that Scripture is a theological document, not a comprehensive historical account. Another theological interpretation considers the concept of the Imago Dei, or the image of God, as central to the story of humanity's origins. Adam and Eve's forgotten descendants, though unnamed, would have carried this divine image, reminding us that all humans, known and unknown, share inherent dignity and worth. Could this be a subtle message embedded in their omission, that God values every life, even those lost to history? Symbolism in the story of forgotten descendants. Beyond theology, the forgotten descendants often appear in discussions of biblical symbolism. Some scholars argue that these unnamed children might serve as a metaphor for humanity's broader failings and potential. In this view, the lack of detail about their lives could represent the universal human tendency to fade into obscurity, overshadowed by the notable deeds, or sins, of others. Moreover, the story of Adam and Eve's descendants can symbolize humanity's collective struggle to reconcile with a fallen world. If Cain and Abel represent the extremes of human behavior, violence and virtue, then the other descendants might embody the complexities in between, ambition, survival, creativity, and moral ambiguity. Scientific insights: could there be a historical basis? The rise of genetics and anthropology has also reignited interest in humanity's origins. Scientists often explore questions about early human populations and their migrations, which naturally intersect with biblical narratives. For example, the concept of a genetic Adam and Eve has been popularized by research into human ancestry, suggesting that all modern humans share a common genetic lineage. While these figures aren't the same as the biblical Adam and Eve, the parallels are striking. Could the forgotten descendants of Adam and Eve represent real populations that existed in ancient times? Some scientists propose that the story may reflect the dispersion of early human communities across the earth. These descendants, if taken historically, could symbolize the branching out of humanity into diverse cultures, languages, and civilizations. This interpretation aligns with the Tower of Babel narrative in Genesis, where humanity's unity is fractured, leading to the spread of people across the globe. The forgotten descendants might serve as precursors to this event, bridging the gap between Eden and the broader human story. Bridging science and faith. For many, reconciling scientific theories with biblical accounts can be challenging but rewarding. The forgotten descendants of Adam and Eve provide an excellent opportunity to bridge these fields. Rather than viewing the Bible and science as opposing forces, this story invites us to see them as complementary perspectives on the same truth. For instance, scientists studying early human behavior often highlight the importance of family and community structures in survival. The Bible's emphasis on genealogy and lineage resonates with this insight, suggesting that the forgotten descendants played crucial roles in forming the foundations of human society. The impact on modern theology. Modern theological debates often center on the implications of these stories for Christian faith. Some argue that emphasizing the forgotten descendants encourages believers to explore the mysteries of Scripture more deeply, fostering a faith that embraces both wonder and inquiry. Others caution against overinterpreting these gaps, suggesting that such speculation risks overshadowing the core messages of the Bible. Still, the enduring allure of Adam and Eve's forgotten descendants lies in their ability to inspire questions rather than provide answers. This open-endedness invites believers to engage with Scripture on a personal level, discovering new insights that resonate with their own experiences. What do these interpretations mean for us today? The story of Adam and Eve's forgotten descendants continues to capture the imagination because it reflects our own search for identity, purpose, and connection. In many ways, we are all part of this lineage, descendants of a shared past, shaped by both divine purpose and human complexity. As we reflect on these narratives, we're reminded of the importance of embracing both the known and the unknown. The forgotten descendants teach us to value the unseen threads of history, the lives that go unrecorded but are no less significant in God's eyes. Transition to application and spiritual reflection. Having explored theological and scientific perspectives, we now turn to the spiritual lessons these narratives offer. What can the forgotten descendants of Adam and Eve teach us about our own journey of faith? How do these ancient stories resonate with the challenges and opportunities we face in today's world? Let's dive deeper into the spiritual applications and reflections that make this story more than just a historical curiosity, it's a guide for living with purpose and legacy. Spiritual applications and reflections. As we transition from exploring theories and interpretations to focusing on the spiritual lessons, the story of Adam and Eve's forgotten descendants takes on a deeply personal and reflective tone. These narratives, while shrouded in mystery, are more than historical or symbolic curiosities, they carry timeless truths that speak directly to our spiritual journey, our sense of purpose, and our connection to God. The lesson of obscurity, valuing the unseen. One of the most striking aspects of the forgotten descendants is their anonymity. The Bible records their existence but offers no further details about their lives. In a world obsessed with recognition and accomplishment, this anonymity reminds us that our worth is not defined by fame or external validation. These unnamed descendants lived, worked, and contributed to the unfolding story of humanity, even though their names are lost to history. Similarly, our actions, big or small, matter in ways we may never fully understand. Their story teaches us to value the unseen contributions we make in our families, communities, and spiritual lives, trusting that God sees and values every effort. The pursuit of knowledge, a divine mandate. The lack of detail about Adam and Eve's forgotten descendants also serves as an invitation to seek understanding. Throughout Scripture, we're encouraged to pursue wisdom and knowledge, as seen in Proverbs 4 verse 7, "Wisdom is the principal thing, therefore get wisdom, and with all thy getting get understanding." This pursuit is not about satisfying idle curiosity but about deepening our relationship with God and uncovering the truths He has woven into creation. By studying these stories, questioning their implications, and seeking answers, we participate in a divine mandate to grow in faith and understanding. At the same time, we must balance this pursuit with humility. Some mysteries, like the full story of Adam and Eve's descendants, may remain unresolved, reminding us that God's ways are higher than ours, Isaiah 55 verses 8-9. This tension between seeking and surrendering is a hallmark of the spiritual journey. Legacy and purpose, finding our place in the story. The story of Adam and Eve's descendants is ultimately about legacy. Seth, Cain, and Abel are remembered because of their unique roles in God's plan, but the forgotten descendants also played a part in shaping the human story. This invites us to consider our own legacy. What impact are we leaving behind? How are we contributing to God's plan? Our legacy doesn't have to be monumental to be meaningful. Just as these descendants contributed through their existence, relationships, and communities, we too can leave a lasting impact through everyday acts of love, faith, and service. This perspective shifts the focus from grand achievements to faithful living, encouraging us to find purpose in the ordinary. Relevance to modern life, navigating challenges with faith. In today's fast-paced, often chaotic world, the forgotten descendants offer a reminder to slow down and reflect. Their story encourages us to focus on what truly matters: our relationship with God, the love we show to others, and the values we pass on to future generations. For example, their anonymity challenges us to let go of the need for constant recognition. In a culture dominated by social media and instant gratification, this lesson is both countercultural and liberating. By shifting our focus from outward success to inner faithfulness, we can find deeper fulfillment and peace. Additionally, the story of Adam and Eve's descendants resonates with anyone who has ever felt overlooked or forgotten. It reminds us that even when we feel invisible, God sees us. His plan includes each of us, and our lives have eternal significance, even when the world doesn't take notice. Seeking connection with God. Perhaps the most profound takeaway from this story is the importance of staying connected to God. Adam and Eve's story is one of separation and reconciliation, a theme that extends to their descendants and, ultimately, to us. By exploring the forgotten descendants, we're reminded of our own need for connection with the Creator. This connection gives us purpose, strengthens us in adversity, and anchors us in a world of uncertainty. It also inspires us to seek the divine image within ourselves and others, fostering compassion, understanding, and unity. The timelessness of these lessons. The lessons from Adam and Eve's forgotten descendants are not confined to ancient times, they are timeless truths that resonate with every generation. Their story invites us to reflect on our own lives, encouraging us to embrace the mystery, seek wisdom, and live with purpose and faith. Transition to the conclusion. As we reflect on the spiritual insights from this story, it's clear that the forgotten descendants of Adam and Eve are anything but insignificant. Their legacy lives on, not in detailed genealogies, but in the timeless lessons they teach us about faith, purpose, and connection. In the final section, we'll summarize our journey through the mysteries of these forgotten lives and invite you, the viewer, to share your thoughts and reflections. Together, let's uncover what these ancient stories mean for us today and how they can inspire our journey forward. As we conclude this deep dive into the forgotten descendants of Adam and Eve, we find ourselves at a crossroads between mystery and insight. Throughout our exploration, we've uncovered layers of history, theory, and reflection that offer much more than just an academic pursuit. The unanswered questions about these descendants invite us to explore how the hidden, the unseen, and the mysterious hold great spiritual significance for us today. In this video, we embarked on a journey through the pages of the Bible, uncovering the shadows of the forgotten descendants. From the moment we examined the significance of Seth as the successor to Abel, to exploring the deeper implications of the mysterious other sons and daughters mentioned in Genesis 5 verse 4, we began to realize that their absence from the narrative was a call for deeper reflection. These stories, though often overlooked, present us with opportunities to consider how God operates in the hidden places, beyond human recognition and understanding. Our exploration of apocryphal texts and historical theories about these missing descendants added even more layers to the mystery. From ancient manuscripts like the Book of Adam and Eve to the interpretations of scholars throughout history, we've seen how different perspectives attempt to fill in the gaps. While we may never know all the details about these forgotten figures, their story remains a crucial part of the broader narrative of creation and humanity's purpose. These hidden chapters remind us that not all knowledge is easily accessible, but it's worth pursuing nonetheless. The impact on theological thought and spiritual life. As we reflected on the theological implications of these forgotten lives, we saw how they challenge our understanding of legacy, purpose, and the pursuit of knowledge. While the lack of detailed records about Adam and Eve's descendants might suggest neglect or omission, it actually invites us into a deeper mystery, one that encourages us to seek God's purpose in places where human sight cannot reach. The story of the unnamed descendants also provides a timeless spiritual lesson, that our worth is not defined by how much of ourselves is visible to the world, but by our obedience to God's will in the quiet moments. Whether in the grand narrative of the Bible or in our own individual journeys, these descendants remind us that our lives have significance, even if that significance is never fully seen or understood by others. Now that we've taken this journey together, I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on the forgotten descendants of Adam and Eve? Do you think there's a deeper message hidden in their anonymity? Have you had personal experiences where you felt forgotten or overlooked, and how did that shape your faith journey? Let's continue this conversation in the comments below. Share your reflections and any insights you might have about the spiritual applications we discussed. Are there other hidden stories in the Bible you'd like us to explore? What do you think these forgotten figures teach us about the nature of God, legacy, and our role in the grand story of creation? If you found this video thought-provoking and insightful, I encourage you to engage further with us. Like this video, share it with friends or anyone who might appreciate this deeper look into the Bible, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. By subscribing, you'll be joining a community of fellow seekers who are dedicated to exploring the mysteries of faith, history, and spiritual growth. Every week, we dive into new topics that challenge the conventional and encourage deeper thinking. If you want to be part of this journey, hit the notification bell so you won't miss our next video. Together, we can continue to explore the forgotten, uncover the hidden, and seek the truths that are waiting to be discovered. As we wrap up, let me leave you with this final thought: what other stories, hidden just beneath the surface of time, are waiting to be uncovered? The Bible is full of mysteries, and while some may remain beyond our reach, many more are waiting for us to explore and apply to our lives today. Thank you for joining me on this exploration. Remember, the journey of understanding is never truly over, it's just waiting for the next question, the next mystery to uncover. Until next time, stay curious, stay open, and most importantly, stay connected to the story that began with Adam and Eve, and continues through you and me.